Level 1, the recruit. You're 20. You grew up in Fayetteville, North Carolina, 3 miles from Fort Bragg. You could hear helicopters from your bedroom window at night. You always wondered where they were going. Now you're going to find out. You enlist in the United States Army. Your ASVAB score is high enough that your recruiter pauses and reads it twice. You choose infantry, not because it's glamorous, because it's the foundation. Everything that comes later is built on it. Basic combat training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, 12 weeks. You learn to sleep in 4-hour intervals, to eat in under 8 minutes, to march with 65 pounds on your back without letting your pace drop. Your drill sergeant doesn't ask how you feel. He asks if you're moving. You're always moving. The day you graduate, your mother takes a photo. You don't smile big. You've already learned that the work ahead doesn't care about photographs. Level 2, the Ranger. You're 22. You've earned your slot at Ranger School, Fort Benning, Georgia. 61 days across 3 phases: Benning, mountains, swamps. They take your watch the first morning. Time becomes irrelevant. What matters is the patrol, the mission, the men on your left and right. You eat 1 MRE a day. You sleep on the ground in January in the Appalachian Mountains with wet boots and no fire. Your body drops 18 pounds in 6 weeks. Your mind gets quieter the hungrier you get. That surprises you. Leadership is the whole test. Every Ranger student leads patrols, plans raids, takes responsibility when it goes wrong and gets no extra credit when it goes right. Your patrol fails an ambush on day 34. You let it. The RI hands it back to you without comment. You plan it again. You execute it again. This time it works. Ranger tab pinned to your shoulder. You go back to your unit. Nothing looks different. You are different. Level 3, the Applicant. You're 24. You've heard the name whispered. 1st SFODD, Combat Applications Group, the unit. Delta Force. Nobody calls it Delta Force out loud in the hallways. That's the first thing you notice. The assessment notice appears quietly. No ceremony, no announcement. Just a name on a list and a report date. Assessment and selection. Camp Dawson, West Virginia. You know almost nothing about what's coming. That's intentional. The land navigation begins on day 1. You move through dense West Virginia wilderness alone. No team, no cadre walking with you. Just a map, a compass, a start point, and an end point that keeps changing. The distances are not announced. The time limits are not posted. You walk until they tell you to stop. Then you walk more. 3 weeks in, you're standing in front of a board of quiet men in a plain room. They ask you questions that don't have correct answers. They're not testing your knowledge. They're testing how you think when you don't know the answer. You speak plainly. You say, "I don't know," twice. You don't try to fill silence. You make it through. Of the 300 soldiers who started, 19 remain. You are one of them. Level 4, the Operator in Training. You're 25. The Operator Training course begins. 6 months of the most technically precise warfare instruction ever assembled in one program. Close quarters battle in shoot houses running thousands of rounds a week until reloading is no longer a thought, it's a reflex. Explosive breaching, hostage rescue, assault on hardened positions, vehicle interdiction at speed, advanced marksmanship at distances that seem unreasonable until they don't. The instructors are operators themselves. They don't yell, they correct. There's a difference. When you make an error, no one raises their voice. Someone stands next to you, walks you through the exact second it broke down, and makes you run it again. A staff sergeant named Kowalski has been in the unit for 11 years. He watches you during a close quarters drill and says nothing for 3 days. On the 4th day he adjusts your grip by ½ an inch and walks away. Your split times drop by 0.3 seconds. You understand then that precision isn't dramatic. Precision is quiet, small, and permanent. Your Delta coin is presented in a room with no guests, no press, no social media post. The men around you are the only witness you need. Level 5, the new Operator. You're 26. You're assigned to a troop. You don't ask questions about the mission until the mission is in front of you. You listen more than you speak. You carry your weight and somebody else's when it's needed. Your first deployment is classified. The location you'll never say out loud in public. The mission parameters arrive 90 minutes before execution. You've trained for this. Your heart rate stays at 62. The target building is 4 stories. Your element takes the top floor. The clearance takes 11 seconds. Afterward, in the debrief, your troop sergeant breaks down every second of those 11 and finds 2 things to correct. Not compliments, corrections. You write them down. You train them out of your muscle memory over the next 2 weeks. After the 3rd deployment, a veteran operator named Briggs, who has 14 years in the unit and 2 bullet scars on his left forearm, walks past your kit one morning, looks at how you've organized it, and nods once. You don't say anything. You don't need to. Level 6, the Senior Operator. You're 30. You've run operations on 4 continents. You've seen the mission change shape in real time and you've adjusted without being told to adjust. That's the difference between a soldier and an operator. The soldier waits for the order to adapt. The operator already has. You're now mentoring the newer men in your troop. There's an operator named Garza. Young, fast, technically excellent. He also talks too much in the planning phase and not enough in the debrief. You take him aside after a training iteration. You don't lecture. You ask him what he thinks went wrong. He tells you. You ask him if he said that during the debrief. He didn't. You tell him the debrief is where the team gets better. His silence afterward costs everybody. He doesn't make that mistake again. You realize something you couldn't have understood at 24. Individual excellence is table stakes. The real job is making the men next to you excellent, and the men after him. Level 7, the team sergeant. You're 35. You are the institutional spine of your troop. The officers rotate. The mission changes. The threat evolves. You stay. You are the continuity. A new officer, Captain Ellison, arrives from Special Forces. Smart, fit, genuinely capable. Also 31 years old. You've been doing this longer than he's been an officer. Your job is not to outrank him. Your job is to make him effective. You do it by giving him information before he needs to ask for it, by flagging problems privately before they become public, by making sure when he makes the right call, his men know it, and when he makes the wrong one, only you know it first. A mission in a denied access environment runs 6 days over its planned window. Intelligence shifts twice. The extraction becomes complicated. You rebuild the plan on a dirt floor with a flashlight and a map printed in the wrong scale. The mission succeeds. The after-action report is clinical and precise. It doesn't capture the 6 hours you spent on that dirt floor. It doesn't need to. Level 8, the senior NCO. You're 39. There are men in the unit who started because of something you said to them years ago. You don't always know which ones. Sometimes they tell you. Usually they don't. You're now involved in selection assessments. You sit on the other side of the room now. You watch candidates move through the same hills you moved through 15 years ago. You're not looking for the fastest. You're not looking for the strongest. You're looking for the ones who, when everything is uncomfortable and nothing is clear and the finish line has been moved again, keep moving anyway. A candidate named Wheeler reminds you of yourself at 24. Same build, same quietness, same tendency to understate things. He barely passes 2 events. On the final navigation, he arrives 4 minutes before cutoff. Alone, correct, unbroken. You don't say anything to him during selection. Months later he's in OTC. You pass him in the hallway. You nod. He nods. That's enough. Level 9, the commander. You're 44. You command a squadron. The decisions that land on your desk are not small. You're responsible for mission readiness, operator welfare, family programs, intelligence integration, interagency relationships, and the kind of institutional decisions that shape what this organization looks like in a decade. A young intelligence analyst, 26 years old, a civilian named Torres, surfaces a pattern in the signals data that 3 senior analysts missed. She brings it to you because she's not sure her supervisor will prioritize it. You read it that night. You bring it forward the next morning with her name on it. The pattern is accurate. The operation it informs is successful. She gets the credit in the official record. Someone asks you later why you went outside the chain for that. You tell them you didn't. You went through the chain correctly. You just made sure the chain included her. You've been in uniform for 24 years. You no longer think about what you gave up to be here. You think about what was possible because you stayed. Level 10, the general. You're 51. 1 star. You sit in rooms with the Secretary of Defense and brief operations that will never appear in any newspaper. Your phone rings at 2 a.m. with calls that require decisions in under 4 minutes. On a Tuesday in March, for no particular reason, you drive past the assessment site in West Virginia where this started. You don't stop the car, but you slow down. You think about the 300 who started, the 19 who finished. You think about Kowalski adjusting your grip by half an inch, about Briggs nodding at your kit, about Garza learning to speak in the debrief, about Wheeler arriving 4 minutes before cutoff, alone, correct, unbroken. You think about every man who rang the bell and every man who didn't. You think about what it actually cost both of them. The unit didn't make you hard, it made you honest. It took everything that was performance and left only what was real. You accelerate back onto the highway. There are 11 messages waiting. 3 are urgent. You start with the first one. You start. You hold your spacing. You pass the strength forward. And the work continues.